Arab mediators are awaiting a formal response from Israel after Hamas said it had accepted a new proposal for a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal. The plan was presented by Qatar and Egypt, which are trying to avert a major new Israeli offensive to occupy Gaza fully. Well, Qatar said it was almost identical to a U.S. proposal for a 60-day truce, during which around half of 50 hostages held in Gaza, 20 of whom are believed to be alive, will be handed over, and the two sides will negotiate a lasting ceasefire and the return of the rest. Well, Hamas has agreed to a 60-day ceasefire proposal with Israel, according to an Egyptian official who said that it includes the release of half the hostages held in Gaza in exchange for the release of some Palestinian prisoners. Well, protesters recently blocked a highway in Jerusalem to demand a deal to secure the release of hostages held in Gaza. Well, the action, organized by the Hostages and Missing Families Forum, marked a fresh push to get the captives released. Well, and for more on this development, I spoke earlier with the Israeli ambassador to Nigeria, Michael Freeman, in the studio.
What we're seeing in Israel at the moment is a clear determination from the people and the government who want to see our hostages brought home. Hamas are currently holding 50 Israeli and international hostages from many different countries in the world. They've been holding them since October the 7th, 2023. And we're seeing protesters say it's time to bring them home. It's time for Hamas to release them. It's time for Hamas to release the hostages, lay down their arms and end this war. Israel wants to end this war. We want this war over. We want our hostages back. We want Hamas to lay down their arms. And we are willing for that to we want that to happen, and we're willing for the end of the war.
Now, see what some of the, families of the hostages, the largest crowd was seen in Tel Aviv's hostage square on concerning this protest, with the organizers saying the government's plan to seize control of Gaza City risked the lives of around 20 hostages still being held by Hamas. What do you make of that?
Well, we've seen now in the last 24 hours reports that Hamas have now come back to the table to discuss potential ceasefire. And there's no question the reason they're doing that is because they're feeling under pressure. They're feeling the pressure. They understand that Israel is determined to destroy Hamas once and for all, including, if necessary, going into Gaza City, the one area, really, the major area we haven't been yet. And so Hamas has suddenly come to the table. If we weren't prepared to go to Gaza City, if we weren't prepared to start that action, then I don't believe that Hamas would have come to the table. And we haven't yet decided. We haven't seen what Hamas are saying. Hamas have supposedly said yes to to a ceasefire, but they've supposedly said yes 5 or 6 times. And when you actually read what they've said, they've actually said no, but sold it as a yes. Israel has said yes to every single proposal that the Special Envoy Steve Witkoff from America has made, and Hamas has rejected it. So we're waiting with skepticism to see what Hamas have said this time. But there's no question, if we weren't willing to go into Gaza City, Hamas wouldn't have even begun to discuss the possibility with us.
Netanyahu is criticizing the protest, saying it'll harden Hamas's stand. Should they be looking outward instead of inward? The protest is directed at him, but he's pointing his finger at Hamas.
Well, I think the protests and everybody is pointing their finger at Hamas. They want the hostages home. Netanyahu's not holding the hostages. Hamas are holding the hostages. The Israeli government's not holding them. It's Hamas that are holding them. The way to bring the hostages home is for Hamas to release them. And what I would like to see from every country in the world, including Nigeria, including every country, is a clear call to Hamas: release the hostages now. The quicker we bring the hostages home, the quicker we end the war. And so everybody, including those people who are demonstrating and Prime Minister Netanyahu, their cry is to Hamas: release the hostages now.
Now listen to Yehuda Cohen, whose son, Nimrod, is held in Gaza. This is what he says. He says, "We live between a terrorist organization that holds our children and a government that refuses to release them for political reasons." This is coming from a concerned person whose son, Nimrod, is there.
Look, I can't even begin to imagine what a parent of one of the hostages is feeling. The hell that they've been going through since October the 7th, 2023, over 683 days, they have been going through this hell. So it's not in my place to judge, it's not in my place to say, to certainly try and imagine what he's going through. But the reality is that, as I said, Israel has accepted every proposal made by Special Envoy Steve Witkoff from the President Trump's administration, and Hamas is the one who's refusing to come and have a ceasefire. So, Israel can only say yes and yes and yes, and it's Hamas saying no, no, no. So I understand the pain, but the reality is we need Hamas to agree.
Well, talking about Hamas agreeing to a ceasefire deal, hostage prisoner swap, that should sound like music to your ears. And the parents that their children are being held, this proposal, by the way, was put forward by Egypt and Qatar, issued based on a framework, like you said, by U.S. Envoy Steve Witkoff. So it should sound like music to your ears.
Well, if it's true,
to the rest.
If it's true, and they've agreed to the Witkoff proposal, then that's something we need to examine. But as I said to you, every time in the past that Hamas have said yes publicly, in privately, what they've really said is no. And the last time this proposal was there, Qatar and Egypt were the ones who said to Hamas, this is ridiculous, you're not agreeing, you're just pretending. And they're the ones who went back to Hamas and said, go away and come back when you're serious. So everybody has agreed up until now that every proposal that Steve Witkoff has put on the table, Israel has agreed, Hamas has refused, and we're seeing everybody acknowledge that. So if Hamas really are serious this time, then there may be some hope and there may be some possibility to see where we move. But we have to see their proposal.
Even some former Israeli army and intelligence chiefs now call for a deal to end the fighting, particularly because of the number of lives and the property destroyed in Gaza City, and then the question of hunger. It's been talked about in some quarters that Netanyahu is starving the people of Gaza, who anyway are not involved in the war. They're not the people concerned. You're dealing with Hamas, but do you have to starve everybody because you want to get to Hamas?
Israel is not starving the population of Gaza. Hamas is starving the population of Gaza.
Israel is blocking the talk, from even aid organizations, is that Israel is not making it easy for aid to get into Gaza.
Well, I dispute that. We have made it very clear. There is absolutely no limit on the amount of aid that can be brought into Gaza. We will not limit it. We will not in any way stop aid from coming in. The problem is that when the aid is coming in, it's being stolen. According to the United Nations' own statistics, these are not my figures, these are the UN's own figures, that in the month of May, 87% of all the aid that was brought into Gaza was stolen by Hamas. And when Hamas is stealing it, they're stealing the food because they want to see the Palestinians suffer, because they know that when the Palestinians suffer, people will look on and say and try and put more pressure on Israel. Israel is not at war with the Palestinian population. Israel has got nothing against the people of Gaza. We have a war against Hamas. Hamas is our enemy. Hamas are the ones who on October the 7th burst into Israel, murdered, raped, burnt alive, tortured, and kidnapped thousands of Israelis.
Yeah, but the question that has been asked over and over again, because the people, you can't deny the fact that people are dying, people are suffering hunger there, starvation, places are destroyed, and these are not the people that brought about the war. So, over time, Netanyahu has been asked, when would you say it's over, we're done, we can continue with this? Because you can't go on and on saying you want to get Hamas, but the people are dying, people are hungry, the whole place is practically destroyed.
The suffering of the Palestinians is not something we want.
But it's something that is happening.
My heart goes out to everybody who is suffering, to all of those people, the innocents who have died. But this is on Hamas. Hamas were the ones who started this war. We did not want this war. There was not a single Israeli in Gaza before this war. We did not want the war. We didn't start it. Hamas started it, and Hamas can end it tomorrow. If tomorrow or today or this evening Hamas say we'll release the hostages, we'll lay down our arms, the war is over. And so you ask the question, how long will this go on for? This will go on until we get our people back. No country would allow a terror organization to kidnap people, to steal them away from their beds when they're sleeping, or from a party in the desert, to steal them away, hide them in dungeons and starve them. We've seen the pictures that they put out of these emaciated bodies of the kidnapped victims who have been forced by Hamas in the tunnels to dig their own graves. No one would allow that to happen. So Israel will stop when Hamas release the hostages and when they lay down their arms. So Hamas can finish this tomorrow.
The question is, at what cost? Well, Hostage and Missing Families Forum Group are demanding what they call a comprehensive and achievable agreement and an end to the war. I mean, these, Freeman, are legitimate asks.
We want that as well. The government of Israel wants that as well. The people who are stopping it are Hamas. Hamas are refusing to lay down their arms or release the hostages. It's all very well saying, let's have an end to the war, let's have a ceasefire. But if the other side, not even the other side, if a vicious jihadi terror organization is refusing to release the hostages and refusing to lay down their arms, then here's the problem. What happens is, if we stop now and they won't lay down their arms, they don't release the hostages, then Hamas do this again in a year's time or in 2 years' time or in 3 years' time or in 5 years' time. It doesn't matter. Hamas have said they will do this over and over and over again. And if they're going to do that, if we stop now, all we're doing is postponing.
Right.
We need to finish this once and for all, and the way to do that is to release the hostages and for Hamas to lay down their arms. We want peace. We want the end of this war.
We don't have all the time. I mean, the question is the foundation of the problem, the two-state solution. But Israeli Ambassador Michael Freeman on Gaza protests, thank you for being here and sparing your time to discuss this issue.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right.